neighbors, all the things above that could make a leader. It doesn't have to be rank, title, or position, but what it does do is it opens up the door and the opportunity to have great conversations about different skills and abilities and capabilities and personalities and traits of leaders and what makes them a leader. I've even argued that someone who's just willing to hold the door open for somebody is a leader. By the way, I'm referring to my 7-year-old son who does it every single morning at the Y. I got onto him because we were halfway to the car and I looked back and he was still holding the door open for people. We let like 20 people through the door. And finally, when I hear this guy go, "Son, I think your dad's done waiting. It's okay. You can close it now." But that speaks to our topic today because my son does have a very kind heart. He is definitely a servant leader. Like he loves helping people. He loves helping them up. He loves lifting them up. I spoke about it with passion and compassion the past 2 weeks with how he is in sports. He's super competitive. My gosh, if someone gets hurt or someone is upset over something, he is the first one to go over and start talking to them, help them up. You know, if they need more than just help up, he's yelling, "Hey, need a coach, need a dad, whatever, your mom, whatever." You know, he just has that kind spirit, and it's something that really shines through him as a leader, because to me, he's true to himself. Like, he's just himself. He's like, "No, I'm going to hold the door open until everybody has gone in or out," because it's what he wants to do. He wants to be kind to those people. But it's also something that he will appreciate if someone does it for him, even though he'll try and push them out of the way. To do it for them. But it's this kind heart that he has. And today's topic, if you haven't figured it out yet, is leaders are ... kind. And really, this actually wasn't on my list until last week when we had really dove deep for only the half hour that we're here into the differences between passion and compassion. And as we kept talking, one of the themes that was running through my head, and I've had it penciled in, but I didn't write it in ink, was kindness. Because I kind of combined all that together as we were talking, especially with Jim and Mike, and just as we were processing the information and discussing, I was like, this has to be a list item. This has to go in the book. This has to be a chapter, because it really does take kindness to make the world go round and be a better place. You can be as passionate as you want, but if you're a jerk about it, are people really going to want to follow you? You can have all the compassion in the world, but if you've got an ulterior motive with some anger in your voice, or you want it all for you, I'm being nice to you, but the only reason why they're being nice to you is so they can advance. One, that's not a true leader. You're not being true to yourself. You're not being true to others. But if you don't have kindness in your heart, and I know I say whenever I open these that a lot of these skills and abilities are things that some we're going to be strong in, some maybe not so much. This is one of those ones, it's pretty much a mandate as a true leader that you should have. Not saying you're not going to mess it up. I've most assuredly messed it up. I just admitted one simple case where I was like, "I'm hungry. I don't care about holding the door for people. Get in the car." Okay, I didn't actually say that, but I wasn't far from it. I was hungry. Can you blame me, Mike? Mike.
No, I understand hangry.
Oh, I was hangry. But it's not the point. It's the fact that it's where is our
I'm
heart?
hungry now.
Yeah, I'm not. I just ate. But it's this understanding of where's your heart at? You know, I talk a lot about this in giving when we talk about tithing in the church and you know where Jesus was in the Bible with this, especially as a servant leader. Is where's your heart? Is it coming from a heart of kindness, or is it coming from a heart of obligation? And to bring home another example, and guys, this is really where I feel like the focus is going to be today, at least right out the bat. And Jim, I'll have you go first in this. Is there are just so many examples of kindness, but we look past it. And one of the ones that I think is important as a leader, whether I'm their boss or not, or I'm their client or not, or I'm a member, and I'm saying member for a reason because I'm talking about the YMCA I work out at. The staff there is always so kind and helpful to everybody, and that hasn't always been the case. And I've told them that. Hey, listen, you guys need to tighten this up, some attitudes. But right now, no matter what part of the Y you're in, everybody there is just so kind. It's so welcoming, like you want to be there. You know, I listen, I don't like getting on the treadmill. But when I've had someone stand there as a staff member, pump me up and say, hey, doing a great job, makes you feel good. And that hasn't always happened. And then to take it a step further, the lifeguards, maybe one of them is considered a lead. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure the others aren't because they have different indications, so to speak, if someone's a leader. But there's one girl in particular who is just the sweetest, kindest person probably on planet Earth. But she doesn't do it out of an obligation. It's just the way she's that one that's always smiling, always says hi to everybody, always quick to gladly go get something to clean up a mess or whatever. But you want to say hi to her. You just want to. And I see this future leader in her just because of the kindness she displays to so many people. Because let's be honest, the job of a lifeguard is not the easiest one on planet Earth. So thinking about just different examples of kindness, of how not only, Jim, it has impacted us, but how we can encourage that to keep going. Mine in this case was not just telling her, hey, you really are one of the kindest people here. You really are one of the nicest people here. I went to her boss. I actually called out three different lifeguards and said they are the nicest lifeguards here. It's not a knock on the other ones, but they just take it to that next level, that next step. And I look to them as leaders because I know if I need something, or if someone, God forbid, has an emergency and needs something, man, they're going to be on it. So Jim, to you, what's some examples of kindness you've seen that just really just next leveled you and wanted you to be next level?
Oh, I'm sorry, you cut out for the last 5 seconds. Examples of kindness, what?
Examples of kindness that have not only impacted you, but have caused you to want to level up, or actually level up.
Yeah. Well, I think when people do the simplest of things sometimes, but it's sincere. It's not about gifts. It's about those little things that matter. And I can tell you, even just really thought about. I mean, we put on a really great event yesterday. Focused on comedy this time. We had some more singers there, but one thing somebody just said, hey, I just wanted to let you know, I just wanted to thank you for putting this together. But they genuinely meant it, and then they were very specific. They're like, it really made my day because I was having a not so good day, and this put a lot of put a big smile on my face, and it just filled me, and those little things, just signs of sincere, getting back to what we were talking about in prior weeks, gratitude and really being very specific. Those are those little things that matter most when we take the time to just do something, and it can be simple, right? That doesn't mean I won't take a Ferrari, Mike, when you send it over here, but you're not
a chance in hell.
But but when it freezes over, Eagles also did that.
Oh, the FCC.
But and of course they released the album that was called. But I mean, when people go out of their way, it's not about what necessarily what they what the physical value of what it is, but it's the intent and just the sincerity in it. And if it's very specific, I appreciate that. So that's a great example. But I also see when people just do little things like I had somebody just buy a coffee for me. I was going through the line. I'm not coffee one time at Starbucks, but another one in In-N-Out Burger. They actually paid for my whole meal. And it was like, I don't know, $15 or something. They go, oh no, the card before you took care of it. Things that are unexpected and very specific are things that really inspire me. We can go into great examples of other people do big things, but I just want to focus on the small things. The fact that we can all make a decision to do something small, and that makes me level up, thinking about the simple things I can do when somebody is really in need. And I've done this before. Maybe they need food and they're with a child. I just walk by them thinking I don't have time. Sometimes we have the time really to do it, but when we do have the time, do we take those times to be able to just do the simplest of things that mean so much to people? So very specific, unexpected, and sincere.
Well, and I love that word sincere because that takes us all the way back. Like you brought up gratitude, but that takes us all the way back to vulnerable and authentic. That builds an authenticity in us. Like going back to my son's example, I'll be honest, that kid sees somebody 100 feet away in the parking lot. he'll stand there with the door open. I'm like, okay, first of all, you're letting all the heat out because it was like 30 degrees that day. And the next thing you know, that person's running, oh, sweetheart, you don't have to do that. But me, I'd have been like 100 feet away. Yeah, it's cold out here. You know, I don't know. I hope not. But the sincerity that comes with that, what that creates, and part of where I really got on this was I opened up Facebook the other day.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys know this isn't going to be good. And I just saw some oh my gosh, it was so negative. And it was people that I know, I've worked with, I've done life with and things. And it was just so, so, I don't want to say disturbing, but it was just so negative that it was like, I wanted to report it. Like, hey, what are you doing? Is it really worth this? And then you get into the comments and man, you want to talk about heading downhill in a quick dang hurry. It was bad. And so I was like, you know what? The world needs more kindness. I recorded a video about kindness and just put it out there. I didn't get in the comments. I didn't feed into it. I was like, no, I'm not going to feed the negativity monster. I'm going to feed the kindness monster. And that's why I wanted to be able to share some of these examples, is because we can build more sincere hearts and mentalities out there, mindsets out there, if we just do those smallest of things. It doesn't have to be sending Jim a Ferrari. It doesn't have to. Although I know people who have legitimately bought somebody their dream car because they were so grateful for all the kindness that had been expressed to them, all the amazing things that they had done together, the work they'd done, business, you know, what are making each other money, helping each other with their family, whatever the case may be. But it wasn't out of this, oh, I have to get that somebody, I want to. And so, Mike, share your thoughts in this, of not just from this, I have to do something for somebody, as much as it is, I just want to.
well, I, of course, looked up Jesus. I mean, well, what are you going to do, right? Because he's kind of the role model of kindness. So Jesus said, be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing. He was talking to the disciples, I believe, at that point. Be kind to one another. That really feels like a direction to me. Be tender-hearted, forgiving. And, you know, this is a hard one, Chris, because you brought up social media, and that's like the epitome of not being tenderhearted and hating on each other in a big way. And you know, before we hopped on the podcast here, we were talking about the Iowa LSU Women's National Championship game, and I said I think this is going to come up today, so we'll just get it out there. You know, it was a very good game. It's one of the better national championship games I've ever watched. It was a back and forth. I mean, it was a real battle, even though LSU came out on top. And of course, you know, as an Iowan, sad to see the Hawkeyes lose, but there was a lot of stuff, extracurricular stuff that went on during that game, whether it be smack talking or just whatever the case may be. And what I've seen happen since the game was over, even on our little family text we had going on, is that people were like, well, I just don't have a whole lot of respect for LSU for some of the things that they were doing. Well, the day before, Iowa was doing some of those same things on the court, you know, waving their hands in front of their face and that type of thing. And so, you know, but what has happened and what I've seen online today as I've looked at things, man, there is like this huge elevation to the point where it's now, I've seen a lot of this and it just breaks my heart, where it's being separated right down racial lines. Well, I mean, Iowa had more white players than LSU, and now LSU's a bunch of thugs and da-da-da-da-da. Listen, that's not what this is about at all. And I'm reading some of this stuff today, and it makes me sick. You know, these two teams played for a national championship. They fought hard, both of them. Very good game. And today we're talking about, you know, who wears the white hat and who doesn't. And it just, you know, it leaves me sad when these things happen and occur in this country, and kindness is just thrown out the window because your team lost or whatever the case may be. It's not good.
Well, and this speaks back to a couple of weeks ago when we talked about passion, and we talked about teams and how people get so passionate for their team. You know, they wear the jersey or the T-shirt, they got the hat, you know, whatever. You know, they watch every game, they go to every game, things like that, which I'm all for. But at the same time, too, you know, there is a huge difference between three guys joking with one another, the three of us joking with one another, because we know each other. Right?
Yeah.
We do business together, we do life together, we hang out with each other. We're probably going to talk some smack on each other.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in sports. They're athletes, they're competitors. We athletes talk smack. My goodness, there's some people out there that listen, I only ever played church league basketball. Okay. If you want to get into a place where there's some smack talking going on, there was. But you know what we did afterwards? We went and had a drink together. Like, you know, because we were still kind to one another. We could still hang it on each other. And there are different balances in that. And that's why I say when you're building this authenticity as a leader and you're actually authentically expressing kindness, there are going to be these differences of, yeah, I'm passionate about this. I've got to drive everyone. We've got to get this work done. But at the same time, I'm going to have this compassion for you that if something has come up that's not just some lame excuse or a lie, or it happens every single Thursday that you're late because there was a train. Tell me the truth, because I actually looked up your address on how to get there, GPS, that there's 0 train tracks in your way. Okay? Yeah, I'm going to lose a little bit of compassion there. But legitimately, someone got sick or someone went to the hospital, someone died, you know, things like that. Yeah, it's time to have that compassionate, kind heart with one another. No different in sports. It's no different in just being able to be together and have fun. Now, that said, though, we come right back to the word that comes up almost every single week. It starts with a D. Discernment. Discern what's actually happening. And now, I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch any of the games this weekend at all. Partly because I fasted from all things screen, but also just because I had things with family to do. But I've seen the hand wave saying I get the ring, you don't. And if Iowa was doing it the game before, but now everybody wants to chastise them, now we're throwing competitiveness out of it. Now we're just being hateful and mean.
Yeah. And
that's only going to cause everything to downslide. And in a day and age where information flies super, 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 supersonic. I don't know what Mach that is, but it's fast, right? Mach, what, 42? You know, you hit boom, it's there and you can't take it away. Or you claim you can take it away. No, you can't. I had that discussion with my teenagers a long time ago. Okay. You can't truly take it away. But the thing is once something negative has happened, it's a downslide into hate. When something positive happens, it's a nice, hopefully even flow or climb up, but a good climb up, not one of those we struggle in, of kindness and of opening up our hearts to one another, being genuine with one another. I'm going to use another sports reference, and we talked about him last week. Coach Tang, K-State coach, went viral because he spoke to a family of someone who lost their teenage daughter. And people are like, well, why would you do that? Why would you do that? He's like, well, because it's the right thing to do and it's kindness from my heart. And then he went over to the opposing team's locker room. I don't know how many coaches have ever done that in history. I mean, I know when they shake hands, hey, good job, great job, you know that. Okay, that's good sportsmanship. But to actually go over to the opposing team's locker room that beat you, that by rank should not have been able to, and you go over there and say, you could win it all. You guys are the hardest, toughest team we have faced all year after facing some of the top teams in the nation. Kindness matters, folks. And it's the true leaders that step up out of the kindness, not of their heart, not out of an obligation, but out of an opportunity that changes this world for the better place. Instead of feeding into the negativity of someone's feed because they said, I can't believe these people did that, or they specifically called someone out on something they didn't like. Well, first of all, go have the conversation with them. Probably a good starting spot, just saying. But also, don't feed into it. it kind of stems back to the water cooler in the office, right? Where does everybody go to get the gossip? The water cooler. What happens with that gossip? It goes negative. Don't let that happen. Don't let that happen in your homes. Listen, I'm pumping up my son, the 7-year-old. I can tell you right now, just as much as I pump him up, there's times I got to tear him down in the house because he is not exactly kind to his sister. So this isn't just managerial water cooler talk here, folks. This isn't just how to be a better coach or a better player. This is better parenting. This is better life together as a family unit when we can be more kind to each other. I mean, oh my goodness, the past few weeks, especially until the weather started turning a little nicer here in Kansas where we could get the kids outside. Oh my. Kindness was a word that was used ad nauseum because kids were not being kind to each other. And then when they come upstairs, you guys can attest to this, when they come upstairs and they start yelling and screaming, all of a sudden the parents aren't kind anymore, right? I'm pretty sure mommy was a big meanie head the other day. You're welcome for that. My wife will watch this later. I'm going to get in trouble, but that's okay. Because of the simple fact that the kids were fighting, but they were missing this component of kindness because, oh, you took this from me. Oh, you're in my space. Listen, kids, I don't care if we've got a 1,200 square foot house or a 12,000 square foot house. At some point in time, you're still going to find the same spot in the house and fight over it. So learn how to be kind to one another, and you'll find out you get along a lot better. So, Jim, what are things we can be doing on top of these random acts of kindness? How do we teach people this? I mean, we hear about, I see it on Facebook a lot. And I loved your example of the meal and the coffee. I think you said In-N-Out Burger. But how do we get more people to start doing this when you open Facebook like Mike did, or I did, or I'm sure you have too, or anybody watching has, and it's like, poof, negativity. I just hop off of it right then and there. I don't even try to scroll past it. I can't watch this. So, Jim, how do we start teaching people to be more kind, even in the fact of thinking of my 5 and 7-year-old who right now hate each other? How do we teach this?
Well, I think one of the things, I love this question, and you always pose some great thought-provoking things here. Pretty obvious, I think, but sometimes we don't all do it. The best way, I think that we have to see, are we kind? And the way we can do it, certain things are measurable. There's a guy, Daniel Lubinsky. You know who he is? I think that's the pronunciation. He was the founder of the Kind LLC. They have the Kind Bar. He's also on Shark Tank. And so what he does is everything he brings in, he gives a certain portion back to certain communities. Tom Shoes does the same thing. So I think the way we can do it is have a plan for it and do it. So I think it's the same thing. We can all intend to lose weight, but until we put it in action, it just doesn't happen unless we have a plan. Same thing. A good way to do it is just take an evaluation, and however you want to give kindness. It could be financially, it could be a hug, could be a smile, being very intentional and do it. And you can measure yourself at the end of the day thinking, wow, was I really kind to anyone? Financially, It's easy. Slice off a certain portion, give it to somebody in need. You could always treat somebody to a meal. Maybe it's somebody you respect in the military, or somebody that's a senior. Somebody that's a kid. Make sure the parents. So we don't want it to be translated wrong, right? Because sometimes kindness can be translated differently too if you're too kind. That's how weird we are today. Unfortunately, some people mix messages with kindness, take advantage of people. But be very sincere, be authentic, have a plan, do it, and then measure it every day or every week, however you're determined to. So that's what I think is really important.
Yeah, and something that got me thinking, and Mike, switching over to you, and these are kind of closing thoughts, by the way, because we're right out of time almost here. But Mike, you spoke, of Jesus and being kind to one another, and I know, as a born again Christian, even though I was raised in the church, I fully have a relationship with Christ, and until I did, one of the things that people saw in me was how much kinder I was, how much easier I was to approach, how more grace-filled and forgiving I could be, how much more mercy I had as a leader. Remember, folks, so many stories of me being a professional pessimist. I had the rank, title, and position. Yet I was the crappiest leader on planet Earth. I'll just say it. Even though, yeah, things were getting done organizationally, things where they needed to be, boxes were checked, all that stuff. But from a personality perspective, I just wasn't that kind. And people would ask me, what changed? Jesus. I had the skills and the abilities. I had the experience. I had the knowledge. Not saying I'm done learning by any means, but people would ask me, what changed? And I let Jesus fully take over my life. And so, Mike, I'd like to hear you speak into the heart of everybody here, from a biblical perspective here of the kindness that we should express to one another, how much better we are as well as the world becomes when we express that kindness, especially that biblical kindness that Jesus expressed to us.
Wow, that's heavy stuff, Chris.
Very heavy.
I was looking at, because I always have to refresh my memory. I don't seem to memorize the best these days. Jesus touched the untouchable, showed compassion to those that were suffering, and he spent time with the rejected. Now think about what I just said. I didn't say Jesus went and hung out with the CEOs. Jesus hung out with the best of the best. He didn't. He actually sought out people that were had lesser means, maybe were sick, were castaways. It's in a lot of cases. And, you circle back to the root meaning of the word kindness. It comes from kin, which means family. And to be kind is to be generous, to be noble, to be thinking about other people. And so it's such what's a good way to say this? It's such a lovely little word that we don't spend enough time talking about, because it's so much easier to just be pissed off. To just
True story.
I mean, just be pissed off. And listen, I fell victim to this weekend, right? I'm trying to paint True Man World headquarters here and lighten it up, and in the middle of all that, the washing machine decides to overflow into my workout room in the basement, and by the end of the day, I was kind of pissed. To be honest with you. And I wasn't angry at my wife, but I probably wasn't being the best dude in the moment, right?
Been there.
But what's the point of all that? I mean, the fact of the matter is I wasn't enjoying myself painting, but I got it done. I had no control over where that water went. And hence that's kind of how the weekend went. But at the end of the day, it's so much more pleasant to just be kind and nice and loving to the people around you. And God, Jesus, in this week of his death and resurrection, showed us the way. He showed us the way.
Nice.
Yeah, and I love that as a closing thought. And I love how you brought all that together, because one of the things I was thinking in that was, we talk about how easy it is to be pissed off, which is what the world wants, is what the devil wants. It's not what Jesus showed up for. It's not why he died. And the thing is, and I don't remember, I'm hoping I'm remembering the muscle groups correctly here. It takes 56 muscles to frown. Well, it takes 14 to smile. More headaches are caused from frowning than there is smiling. It's not that hard to be kind. The thing is,
Right.
I always say this on the show: if you want to be true, you want to be a true leader, you got to be true to yourself, and then you'll be true to others, and then you can be a true leader. Well, it's the same thing with kindness, same thing with forgiveness, same thing with passion and compassion. You got to be that for yourself if you're going to be it for others. And I'm gonna close out with this and then let you guys tell people how to get a hold of you. Jesus came and made it simple, like kind of like Mike just said. He made it pretty simple for us. And I've ended several, if not almost all, of my sermons with this when I was a preacher. Love God, love others as you would yourself.
Love it.
Bring that together. I promise you, there will be way more kindness in this world, and you'll see a lot more leaders stepping up. Doesn't mean they have to have rank, title, or position. Just means they have love, which next week is our closing topic for the main category of servant leadership. Mike, how do we get a hold of you?
Mike at truemanlifecoaching.com. Just go to my website, truemanlifecoaching.com, and you will get all the information you would ever wish to know about me.
And you should listen to the True Man podcast. Go check it out.
Absolutely.
GMT Chong.
Celebrating 100 episodes this week.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
This Thursday. Yep.
This Thursday. Man, congratulations. Man, you know what? Heck yeah. Way to go, Mike.
Yeah.
That's not easily done. I still haven't even launched my here he is celebrating 100. So it's not easily done. So congratulations, sir. And his book's going to be coming too. That's all on the website also. Jim T. Chong, the
Well, yeah, I love the whole thing. Practical. I just want to make sure people know the whole point isn't just for you to hear about it, but do something to be kind. I believe that's part of the summary. But you can actually go to zoomturtle.com. You'll find me there. Or you're going to like this. You can go to jimtchong.com and you're gonna find out more than you want to know about me. So anyway, I appreciate that. But thank you for Chris for what you do. jimtchong.com, zoomturtle.com can tell you all the things that I'm doing, and then Jim T. Chong lets you find out a little bit about me. So thank you, Chris, for what you're doing here.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's going to be my concluding remark today is, kind of stemming off of what Mike said, be like Jesus. He had true compassion for people. He's very authentic in his kindness for others. But you notice the word was do, not just talk, which Jim said. Take the action on it. I'm not saying you have to buy the next person's meal, especially if you don't have the money. But that doesn't mean you can't open a door for somebody, or if they drop something, let them know and help them pick it up. Doesn't mean you can't be kind to your kids when they're not exactly being kind to you, which I got to work on that. Okay? Take action on kindness and just do it. Don't feed the negativity. It's not worth it. Okay? Till next week, we get to talk about love. Leaders are love. Go out. Have your best day ever. Smart Alex. Make every day great. Remember, can't never did. God bless us all. We'll see you next week.
Be a Jesus guy.